Mic check. All right.
How you hold this thing like this?
Mic check. Mic check.
I'm more of a like.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Let's see where this is going.
What color is it? Say it.
My favorite.
Fucking dumb.
Good morning, everybody. Gabe Mullen here inside GStandard Gym with my boy Chris Kissling and our guest this week. We've got Rod here. Rod Love, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you. For those of you that don't know Rod's been a member here for several years. Actually made the transfer with us when we went from the other side of town to over here. Was it been a little over a year and a half ago in July?
Yeah.
Actually July 1st. So Rod's been with us for quite a while. And I think you're an amazing guy. I think everybody agrees with that.
Thank you.
Extremely hardworking. So a lot of good things to say about you. Your job's really other. Like it's very Seattle, right? But and it fits. But I wanted to basically share, like, outside the gym, what are our members doing? Like
Okay.
what are they up to?
Okay.
I just want to know if you could share with the audience and share with us like what you do.
You guys, I ain't never done
You can talk to us, man,
All
for
right,
sure.
So outside of work, for work, I'm a computer animator. So I make AAA games for console and PC. So I've been working in games for about 19 years. I worked on everything from like Doom 4, Skyrim, Wolfenstein, Rage.
I remember Wolfenstein.
Yeah. I've worked on a slew of titles. I've pretty much. I started on. I think I want to say it's Xbox One, PlayStation 1.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I've been making games since then, man. I've made games for pretty much every console.
How'd you get into that?
PC. How did I get into it, man? So from a young kid, I used to like make flip books and stuff, and like I used to kind of just with your action figures, I would. My mom had a Polaroid camera, but you remember the ones that the pictures just come out?
Yeah.
I used to pose my action figures and take pictures of them.
Yeah.
Right, and then take the picture and then flip them to make them move.
Oh, you make your own story.
Yeah, it makes them move. And so I didn't even know what animation was then.
Yeah.
I just would I thought it was cool. And then as I got older, I figured out how to make flip books. Just because that stuff wasn't online then.
Correct.
And then I kind of, as I got older, I figured out that you could have a career in animation.
You make money.
And originally I wanted to be a film animator, right? I wanted to do movies for like Disney, Pixar, and stuff like that.
We have a weird connection there.
Yeah, and so I wanted to do that, but then I heard about the school called the Art Institute of Illinois in Chicago, where I'm born and raised. I went there. My mom and grandma took me there. You had to have a portfolio or whatever. My portfolio was good enough for my drawings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I got accepted into it. So when I got into it, there's a bunch of different areas of animation. Back then, claymation was good. Remember, they had like what was the one with the
MTV?
MTV.
Yeah, the wrestling one.
Yeah.
Celebrity Death
Celebrity Death Match. That was actually really funny.
So that shit was what I really wanted to do. And then there was a studio called Artman, which did like Chicken Run and stuff like that back in the day. So I got a cool story about those guys. So I went into college and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do stop motion animation, because at this point I figured out the names of what the different, because you could do stop motion, you could do traditional 3D animation, but then like Pixar was the only studio back then that was really doing 3D, right? So I was like, what was closest to me was the MTV stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And so I went into school learning how to do stop motion animation. I originally thought it was all clay animation, but it's not. They have little armatures that go inside of the body that you make out of metal and wire with ball joints, and then they put the clay on top of it. So that's the way they move the character.
So they don't have to rebuild every single piece for every single
movement. And then they have different
movement.
eye sockets and stuff like that, different lips. And so I learned the tricks of the trade, and then my school had the basic setup, the camera, all the set stuff. Mm-hmm. But I realized as a student, you had to leave your set there and you can't finish in one day because you're literally moving stuff, take a picture, moving stuff, take a picture.
Yeah.
Well, at a college, all the students need to use
the station.
Yeah. So you either finish in one day, which is impossible, or you go late at night and hope that nobody fucks your scene up, which they are.
Of course.
Or they're gonna move something. You're gonna be stressed out at night. So I got a couple of movies out that they turned out pretty well. But then one day I was watching TV. I was actually on the internet actually, and I seen this ad for it's like a Bruce Lee short. And it was all done in 3D. And I'm like, man, that's cool. But it was actually a program called Maya that we currently use. And that's the software. So I went and talked to one of my professors. I'm like, hey man, like, do we use Maya here? He's like, yeah, I'm a Maya professor. I'm like, man, I think I want to switch from clay animation to 3D. So like that day I made the switch, right? Because that's
smart too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that day I made the switch. I was like, man, that's just cool. Like the Bruce Lee looked very cool, and I was like, it looked realistic. Who doesn't fucking like Bruce Lee?
Yeah.
Right. And so I was like hooked. And so for that point on, and my professor was actually a game 3D modeler, and I'll get into that after this. But he was a 3D modeler for a studio called Midway. Midway Games made Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam, all the shit, you know.
I remember seeing that, yeah.
And so it was like Midway Games is like where you work for video games, like back in the day, right? And so he worked there, and so what happened was I got into it. I had a natural knack for it, and so he actually started to. After I was probably doing it for like a year and a half. He was like, hey man, you wanna, he was like, instead of doing your assignment, I'll just pass you. You wanna help me work on this commercial?
That's awesome.
And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'll pay you. He was like, I'll ace you and let's, come over tonight and we'll work on, cause I need an animator. Yeah. So I started working with him under the table at school for money, learning the trade or whatever. And when I graduated, I had a badass demo reel. I had industry experience already because I was already
working on projects
with one of the best dudes in the industry.
Wow.
Right. And so funny how I got my first gig. So I had my demo reel, and back then you had to have like, so funny, man, I'm about to date myself, but you had to have a VHS tape.
Oh yeah.
And you had to go and like sling your DVD or your VHS like a rapper.
Like out of the trunk of the
car. So people go to these conventions, right? And you just sling your
demo reel.
Yeah, demo reel. And so like I remember, man, this was probably like, man, like 99 or something, 2000, somewhere in there, man. I was like, I had like $2,000. I was like, I can either buy me a new computer or I can go to this convention called SIGGRAPH that was in what was this one at? They have them every year. I think this was it was in San Antonio, Texas at the time, right? And SIGGRAPH is like a big animation convention where you go and see the latest shorts. All the companies are there. It's 2,000 fucking young adults trying to get jobs. Yeah. Actually, like 10,000. Yeah. And it's every man for himself. It's like you have to have the work ethic, you have to have the work, and you have to have the chops to go to these companies and say, hey man, like I'm your guy. Yeah. So anyway, this is a funny story about this is a lesson in like I call it shutting the fuck up. This is why you should always shut the fuck up. So we had this cocky guy in our school. I won't disclose his name, but he was like super arrogant, right? But he wasn't very good.
The loudest dude in the room is the most insecure. Generally.
But he was arrogant, and so we're all out. Everybody had been slinging their tape all day, getting discouraged, waiting to see if these people are gonna call you back. My demo reel was very basketball heavy. I had this short film of this kid playing basketball with this robot, and basically this kid was a smart kid. He was at the park playing with his ball. This really good basketball bully kid came up, took his ball from him. The kid basically went home, built a robot bully, and then came back, bullied the big kid, got his ball back. That was the premise of the story, right? So I animated all that, had all my concept, my animation, all my stuff presentable, all ready to go. And then, so we're slinging demo tapes all day in San Antonio. We were there for like 3 days. We got there like Thursday. By this time, it's like Saturday night. It's like industry party night, right? All the big wigs are at the parties. And so, arrogant guy comes up and he's like, yeah, I think I just got a job at this company called High Voltage Software. And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, they seen my stuff and they loved it. And in my mind, I'm thinking, man, if they love your stuff, then
They definitely love
they're
mine.
gonna definitely love mine. But I didn't say that. I was like, all right, cool. So he pointed out where the guys were, and so I was like, well, shit, I'm gonna go mingle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went up to the guys, and when I went up to the guys, he came with me because he seen me,
Yep.
and he started trying to like out talk me and stuff like that. But I was just like, whatever, man. So in our conversation, the guy was like, yeah, we make a basketball game, and I was like, hey, man, I have a basketball demo reel right here. And the head of the company was like, he looked at me, he was like, man, this is the first basketball demo reel we've ever seen here today, and we're looking for a basketball animator.
Really?
And so he was like, if you're good, we'll call you in the morning. He was like, do you have your phone? I'm like, I do. He was like, matter of fact, let's go look at it right now. So they had in this little bar area they had these like little side rooms, right? So we left Arrogant Guy at the table where he was trying to like stop any action. We like kind of went into the room. They popped my tape in, and they were like, man, like, this shit is good. How long you been animating? I'm like, and I'm fresh out of school. They're like, so you don't have any work experience? And I'm like, nah. And so they were like, man, so we were in San Antonio, like I said. And so they were like, where do you live? I'm like, in Chicago. And the owner goes, we're based out of Chicago.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that was meant to be.
That was so meant to be.
Right? And I'm
my
like,
goodness.
and I'm like, yeah. And he's like, where do you live? I'm like, oh, I live on the south side. He's like, well, we're right up in Hoffman Estates. He's like, we're in a suburb of there. I'm like, man, that's like a 45-minute drive. I was like, I can be there Monday morning. He was like, we'll be back Tuesday. Can you be there Tuesday? I'm like, absolutely. Shook my hand, got the job on the spot.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. Went
Went back out. The Arrogant Guy's like, what'd they say to you? I'm like, nothing. I didn't say anything. Right? So I didn't say that I had the job or anything because I just seen his mistake, and I'm like, I'm not talking to you because you're gonna say something to ruin my
He was
opportunity.
He would have done anything he could do to crush
right.
you. Yeah.
And so I went back, called my mom, called my grandma. I'm like, oh, I got a job. Spent all my money. I'm broke, so I'm glad I got this job. And because I literally had like $200 left. I'm like, and I was like, they said I could start Tuesday. They're like, oh, great. So I, kind of hung out the rest of the time, went and seen some festival stuff, kind of got inspired, flew back home on Sunday night. Anyway, Tuesday morning comes. I went there Monday, met with the HR, got orientation, all that stuff situated, then left, and on Tuesday was my first day. Well, come to find out, this is why you should shut the fuck up, is that this kid had an internship and not a full-time job. I got a full-time job.
Yeah. So he was working for free. And
he was working for free. And so when we started, not only was he working for free, he was under me. They put him on my team.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
And not only did they put him on my team, he underperformed immediately, and they fired him in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So that was my lesson early on in the industry, to just like
listen and don't speak.
Listen, don't speak, and just be quiet. You don't have to prove anything by talking.
No, your work speaks for itself.
We in Nebraska, we on the football team, we said let your hit and do the talking.
Yeah. There's no reason, and and that's why like a lot of people see me. I have a quiet demeanor. I don't really talk a lot. I'm an observer. I like to sit and I look at people, and then I can tell right away if I want to
engage.
Yes. And by just being quiet,
sure.
People can perceive. People can think about you. People can think whatever they want because they will.
Oh yeah.
That's not your problem. That's theirs.
No, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so what that gives me the ability to do is to choose what encounters I want to have.
Yep.
And that's that experience, plus obviously where I grew up,
Yeah.
the shit that I've been through, right? Like kind of molded me to be the guy that I am now. Like I'm very quiet, I'm very discreet. Like nobody knows shit about me unless I tell you.
Unless you want them to.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and then that's kind of.
It's unfortunate that nowadays I almost have to be like that. I mean, just because your privacy is very important these days, and social media and all that stuff kind of makes it difficult. But I think inside these walls, I think it's cool that we can have different kind of personality types that respect each other. Like as far as like if somebody's not talking, then they're not getting insecure and like, oh, I wonder why they're not talking to me. Like, I don't really see any of that in here. I think I just see everybody kind of doing their thing, and we have our quiet people and we have our boisterous people.
This gym has probably the most. It's like the most diverse.
I have to agree.
Place ever, and honestly, man, like with all the shit we have going on social media and in politics and just in like the world in general, man. Like you and I've talked about this before, and I've even talked about it with Chris before. Like, I mean, if you were to look at all three of us right now, you wouldn't think that we would be friends. And I consider both of you guys.
Right,
absolutely,
100.
I mean, you've been to my fucking house.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
a big deal, by the way, for anybody that does. People don't just invite people over to their houses anymore, and if you do, it's foolish. Get to know somebody before you invite them over. That's a very personal thing.
I told you that about my experience when I first moved here, and I was moving with a dude, and he was an ex-gang member.
Yeah,
and we were going to these houses, and like people, it made them uncomfortable seeing us together.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like just because of the current state that we're in, like people want everybody divided.
Yes.
And like that's just their expectation because that's what's put out. This guy hates this guy because of this, and like seeing us together, they're like, this isn't right. Like, but it's right.
Yeah, I mean, when I first met Chris, man, Chris and I vibed immediately.
Right off the bat.
I think my first encounter was Chris. He came over, and he thought that like I was playing the music, and instead of him being a dickhead and just changing it, which a lot of dickheads love to do, that he went over and he was like, hey man, are you listening to this? Or you mind if I change it to Nipsey? I'm like, please change it to Nipsey.
Yeah.
I was like, please. I'm like, I'm not listening to it, and please.
I gotta say something on that topic real quick. I gotta take a bite out of that because that is something that I've noticed like over the years. Like you really truly like it has opened my eyes. You watch said random person walk into the building, and you're looking at them, and you're like, I wonder what they're gonna play.
Yeah.
No.
I have learned so much.
Yeah.
Like watching, I will never judge a book.
You can't.
Because the second you think they walk in and they play something that just, you're what, really?
Yeah, Chris blew my mind. That's what I was like, yeah, wait,
please. 6 foot bearded, 300-pound ginger talking about Nipsey Hussle. But that just goes to show, like, music is universal, and in here, I don't discriminate when it comes to music. I let people play pretty much whatever they want.
Oh man, music is that's the soul of life, man. Like,
it is.
300%.
There's no bad music.
No.
It's impossible.
There's bad lyrics.
It's bad. It's terrible.
There's some terrible lyrics.
It's terrible
lyrics we can't even defend.
That is true. I guess there is bad music, but
I still get weird looks though because I'll go put like.
You know what's terrible about bad music? When I would say bad music, bad lyric. I'm gonna say bad lyrics because, unfortunately, the music nowadays with all the bad lyrics has the absolute best and catchiest beats. And
absolutely. That's why it's popular.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've also heard, and I could be wrong. My music artists out there can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that they're using artificial intelligence. They're using AI for melodic and music and what catches the ear and what's addictive to the ear and what's addictive to the.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You know what I mean? Like certain synthesizer sounds.
I don't know if they're doing that with drill rap though.
With what? Drill rap?
Come on, man.
Feed me. Feed me.
Chi-Town, son.
As much.
Are you talking about like drill, like
Chief Keef and like King Von is the newest drill rap. Well, unfortunately, he got killed. But man, something about drill rap, man.
What is it?
It's gang music.
Yeah.
But like, I have to be honest. And Chris knows exactly what I'm about to say. I don't want to love that shit.
Yeah.
But I love
it.
You
can't help it.
Really?
No.
You're gonna have to introduce me afterwards. I feel so stupid right now. Since when am I not up to date on music?
Well, I think honestly,
a lot of people don't.
Well, I think drill music is like, I think the kind of, and correct me if you guys think I'm wrong, but I think the kind of music you like is a product of how you were raised and where you were raised.
Agreed.
And what you grew up with. Like, I mean, I grew up on the south side of Chicago.
So that probably speaks a lot when they're, know what they're talking about.
So. I mean, every lyric that they say is some shit that I've
experienced.
And I know the locations they're talking about.
Okay.
I know
it's very hit home.
I know everything the new kid King Von talks about, right? Like I'm like, yeah, I did that before.
Yeah.
So it's
you weren't even in a diaper yet.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But like the locations he talks about, the streets they talk about, the areas they talk about, like you can't help but to like the music. I mean, you know, the issue that I have with the music is that like you should just leave the music as the music. Like unfortunately, some our youth take that as like reality.
Right. Well, yeah, because they see these dudes are beefing over rap, and then these dudes are shooting people because of these beef raps.
Yeah. I think you can like whatever kind of fucking music you like. I mean, Chris knows. Yeah. I'll go from R&B to drill music in one fucking Instagram story. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like all ranges of music, but like I'm not going to like go out and perform a drive-by because my favorite drill rapper is doing a drive-by. Right. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think you have to have a disconnect, and that probably comes with age and again your circumstance and where you are at. Because if you, let's play devil's advocate though, if you are listening to drill music and you are currently living in the area where the drill shit is being talked about, then you probably are going to have a different experience.
So that's what people don't understand, like those particular groups, like they're targeting specifically at each other.
Absolutely.
So there is purpose behind what they're doing, but collectively, the young generation all the way around, they don't know shit about Chicago. They don't know. They have no clue what these dudes are talking about, but they take what these dudes are talking about to heart.
Yeah.
They kind of they gotta go out and shoot it.
And put on a fake hard persona.
I don't even know if it's fake. I mean, because
and you know, honestly, like they just, you know, it's weird, man. Like I have my opinion on it. I feel like if you didn't grow up there, or if you didn't, whatever artist you like, right? Like I like a lot of New York guys. Like I'm a huge Pop Smoke. Like anybody knows when I work out, I love fucking Pop Smoke. I love to work out with Pop Smoke. He has the most unique rap voice in a while.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why you see like Dusty Locane's kind of following. Yep. He's picking up where Pop Smoke left off because
he created something new and then he got killed.
Yeah.
Right. But like he did create something new. But like
Bobby Shmurda.
Yeah.
I love that dude. Just because I love his story.
Yeah. And it just makes music that makes you dance and shit. Like it's like gangster shit, but then you also gonna dance to it. It's cool, you know what I mean. But like I said, to get back to my point, like I like the Pop Smoke stuff. I like the Wu stuff, and I understand it's slightly gang related, but like I don't know shit about New York culture.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna pretend to. I just like the music, right? Yeah. But I'm not gonna pretend that I'm like some type of New York dude. Like I'm like, yo, I like Pop Smoke, and that's where it ends.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I think some of the fans take the fandom a little far. The younger guys, right? They take that stuff too far, and I think that, man. I just think it's the internet, man. I mean, I think, you know, to segue, man. I think like 80-90% of our problems would fucking go away if the internet wasn't here.
I agree with that 100%.
I mean, let's take GStandard for instance, right? Everybody in here has a completely fucking different walk of life. We're all from different walks of life, right?
Right.
Yet there's no racism ever in the gym.
Ever. I have literally been not inside this gym, but I have been in public before. I remember doing this in an elevator. My wife and I were in an elevator, and it's just a social experiment. I wanted to do this. A couple of Black Americans got on the elevator with me, and after being in there for just like 15 seconds, I just looked at them and I said, "Can I ask you a very serious personal question?" And they're like, "Yeah." I go, "Do you feel any racial tension between us as we stand here in this elevator together?" No. And I'm like, "Me neither. And I want to tell you I love you. And I don't understand any of this, and it looks like you're feeling the same way." And I did that about 3 times in one day just to see. This thing is a ghost.
Yeah.
It's an invisible hoax.
Well, the internet and the media set an expectation, and people kind of buy into that expectation because it's kind of like what we talked about. You look at me, like when my head's shaved and just the way I look, people automatically
assume
a stereotype.
It's a stereotype.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm the same way. I can dress like this. If I was sleeved, I'd get a different reaction. In my gym clothes, I get a completely different reaction.
Yep.
In my truck, I get another reaction.
Yep.
If in my van, I get a completely different reaction. But outside of my home, I get a completely another reaction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, people just judge you based off of what they think they know about a particular look or a particular culture. Tattoos and shit have a lot to do with it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Your hair, everything has
kind of tells a little something.
Well,
that's what they think.
That's what they think, right?
Right,
like,
yeah.
I mean, I work in video games, obviously, and man, I've worked with some of the most wild, I mean, one of my buddies has the biggest hoops. He's a programmer, and he makes a shitload of money. He's got the biggest gauges I've ever seen. He's got matrix script tattooed down the middle of his head. He's got under his eyebrows tatted.
Wow.
Under his eyelids tatted. And he's the smartest dude I know.
Isn't that crazy?
But if you didn't know anything about him, you would assume what?
You just think that he was like maybe, I don't know, like a stoner or like I don't know what but you wouldn't think he was what he was, right? You wouldn't think that he was like a super genius.
A brain. Yeah.
He's a brain.
Yeah.
He's super. I mean, he has matrix script on his head for a reason.
Oh,
like,
really?
like he's a genius.
Wow.
He's like 29, and he's literally one of the smartest dudes I ever met in the world. Like he figures out stuff. He figures out stuff that you would need to write down.
Yeah.
On the fly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like he's incredible. He's an incredible programmer, and his look, he looks like he would probably like do motocross. Or skateboard.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, like an X Games guy or something.
That's what you would think.
Okay.
And to be fair, he does.
Or rap artist.
He does.
And he does.
Post Malone's got the tattoos under his eyes, yeah.
And he does. His name's Chris, by the way. And he actually does do all of that. He's like a pro level snowboarder.
What?
He skateboards. He does
one
all
of those
surfs.
Naturally gifted people, whatever he puts his hands on.
But he is a brain.
Yeah.
And like I said, by looking at him on the street, you would not think that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we get literally, like you said, to go back to what you said, every walk of life in here. And we've got, what about JJ? How awesome is that guy?
JJ is incredible, man.
How incredible is that guy?
Yeah, I work out with him every morning, dude. What's up, JJ?
What up, JJ?
He
Which one's JJ? Is that Black
Lightning?
Yeah,
Oh,
Lightning.
yeah.
Yeah, JJ's cool as hell, man. Not only is he cool as hell, he brings up the energy in the gym every day. Like when JJ walks in the gym, man, like if you were half-assing your workout
At all.
you won't.
You won't now.
Even if he's not around you working out, you won't.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
When I first seen him, I'm like, what the fuck is this dude on? I want some.
Can we bottle it?
Right? Like when I first met him, like, cause it was when I first seen him, it was like right in the middle of the fucking pandemic, right? And so I had never seen him before, and he came in, he's fucking like bouncing around the fucking gym, and then he like got up under like 285 and repped it. I was like, what the fuck? And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, and he jumped around the entire time like that while pushing heavy weight.
Yeah.
Then he jumped over 315 and repped it. I'm like, oh fuck, are you running around doing cardio, jumping over the fucking barbells, doing backflips and shit while pressing weight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's a different dude, man. The energy is insane.
It's contagious too.
Yep.
Like I remember the first day he came in here. I just observed him for the first couple times while he was just doing his thing, you know. And I was like, man, this guy is super positive. I looked up
an extreme athlete too, man. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the video he posted where he jumped over, clean over my fucking head.
Yeah, I see that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
After like 40 minutes of us working out, like we were
wow.
here for like, I lied, it was like an hour. We were like almost done with the workout, right? And he was like, right, this dude been posting stuff, and he tagged me in it. Can I jump over your head? And I'm like,
Fuck it.
I know he's gonna make it. It's like a JJ, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, fucking jump over my head, bro.
Yeah.
So like, I stand there. He like says some shit, and then I just hear, and then fucking lands in front of me. I'm like,
You didn't even flinch either.
I
You were
didn't
stone
flinch
cold.
because I already knew.
Yeah, he was going.
He was going over.
Yeah, like he jumps over the fucking barbells like 6 times a day, like off vertical. Like he's gonna make it.
He keeps people hype in here. I love having him. I love having people with that kind of energy in here.
You got the kid training with you too, right?
Yeah. She's doing well. She just fucking. I feel.
Oh, not mama. You got
my baby girl. Yeah. She just fucking.
I've been.
She had her first L Friday when we went state Friday night. I felt, man, when your kid fails, it hurts you worse than it hurts them. So like, she was first in state up until Friday. So they threw her in senior class, and she was like, "Dad, man, this is some." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Go ahead and say it." She's like, "Can I say it without getting in trouble?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." I'm like, "Cause I know what you're gonna say." She's like, "Dad, this is some bullshit." They threw me in senior class when I've been winning junior all year, right? Cause she took like her first meet, she took 4th place, and then she took back-to-back first. Yeah, she took Idaho first place, then she took Montana first place. Yep. So she was ranked first here, and so anyway, on Friday, she got off to the races, man. Like, so her strong suits are floor and beam. And then vault is her weakest, and what I mean weak, it's like a 9. And then so it goes vault, bars, floor, beam. Beam being her best, right?
Mm-hmm. And she's how old?
12.
And her name is?
Ariel.
And her nickname?
Bang.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bang.
I call her Bang because she was a badass kid and she used to punch kids in the face. When she was a baby, like.
I wonder where she got that from.
Come on, man.
You know what's funny? I'm gonna get to that too because she kind of lost a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened between, like, it happened somewhere between like 5 and 7.
Yeah.
Where that shit went away and she needs it again.
Yeah.
Right. So going back to what I was saying, so they almost set the. I knew it was gonna go bad because they almost set. You ever been in a situation where shit's going too good and you're like
you're expecting the.
Well, you're like it sums up.
Yeah.
It can't go
that smooth.
Cinderella ain't real.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I was like, fuck, man. So it was set up for her perfectly that she had vault and beam first. I mean, vault and bars first, which are her worst, and beam and floor second. So I'm like, she's the strongest finisher all the time. She usually starts slow, but she finishes strong. If her last 2 events are strong, if her last 2 events are her best, she usually wins first.
Okay.
I'm like, this shit can't be set up any better. So for sure enough, vault, she comes out with like a 9.125 when she only gets a 9, so she's up. Bar, she got like a 9.25 when she usually gets like a 9. So she's like over 18 points at the half. I'm like, these kids are done. But I'm like, something's about to happen. Sure enough, man, she looks at me, she gives me the thumbs up. But then when she's practicing on beam, man, something's just not like, I can just tell something's off with her. I think she has a big problem with overthinking shit. Like she's a straight A student. She's a brain too. Yeah. Like the kid is like, I mean, you see when I post her scores and shit, she's like ranked in a state in school. She's the easiest kid.
She also gets that from you, huh?
Yeah, well, no, she's smarter than me. I'm not gonna take credit for that. Like, I'm smart with animation.
Yeah, but you harness the environment.
Yeah, but
that's
true. But my kid is she's in 9th level. She's in 9th grade math at 12. Yeah. Like, wow. That I don't even know if I could add right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm being give me my calculator.
Yeah, give me my calculator, bro. I'm not talking. I'm not even gonna discuss it. So anyway, something was off with her, man, and I'm like, she's gonna fucking fall off this beam right now, right? And so like, I'm like looking at her, and she's like practicing, and she's not like crisp and she's got it in the bag. I'm not sure what the problem is, man. And sure enough, man, she gets up there perfectly. She does her shit. There's a thing called a back handspring where you do a backflip on the beam, and like I'm always worried about that because it's so fucking extreme and big, and the beam is like, man, the beam is like this big.
Yeah.
You know, and she gets up there, and normally she like hits her pose really confident, and she just fucking cranks it out and sticks it. This time, she gets up there, and she hesitates, and she holds her pose. I'm like, fuck. And then she goes into her next pose. I'm like, she's gonna fucking fall off this beam. Sure enough, she went into it, and just like I just felt like she thought she was gonna fall, and she fucking fell.
Thoughts manifest.
And then after that, instead of her getting back up in there, one of her biggest issues that I need to work on as a parent, man, like she's got, I mean, you've seen her, she's got the athletic ability, she's a fucking freak, but like her ability to finish after a loss, because she's so used to winning.
Yep. Okay.
That when she loses, she doesn't know how to. Really? She doesn't take adversity well.
Well, and you know as well as I do, that's necessary.
Yeah. Well, you have to lose
to progress.
So I'm actually glad It's happened to her. It sounds fucked up.
No,
but like
that's the right thing to say.
She's got to sit with this for a year.
Yeah.
Right. And so anyway, she fell off, and then I'm looking at her, and I'm like, finish strong, and she's like, I can see it in her face. She wants to like. I'm like, stop that weak shit. Like fucking finish strong. You're a team player first. This is a team sport first. You're second now. So like finish strong for your team. Even if you don't place where you want to place, your score still matters for the overall team because there's an individual and then there's team.
Yep. Okay.
Right. And so she finishes, but she doesn't finish strong in that event. So I look at her coach, and you're normally not supposed to talk to the athletes, but I looked at her coach, and I'm like, I kind of gave him the headset, and he's like, go ahead, I called over here, and I'm like, hey man, finish strong, I'm pulling you out. Like I'm gonna make you scratch, and then you're out of gymnastics. I'm like, straighten your shoulders up, finish strong, and finish your floor, and get the best floor routine you've ever fucking done.
Yep.
Right? She goes out there and does got like a 9-4 on floor.
Oh wow!
Because I stood up. I stood like normally I don't bother her, but it's the end. I stood right up at the edge of her, and I was like, "You better work."
She was already in her head,
yeah,
so you had to get in.
I'm like, "You better work. You do it." I'm like, "Stick everything." I'm like, "Show these kids who the boss is right now," and I'm loud. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, nobody can beat you but yourself. Prove it. And she fucking beat every kid that was right there. While I was saying they can't beat you.
Yeah.
Right? Like the parents are looking at
Everybody
me
needs a dad.
Yeah.
The parents are looking at me like, yes, they can. I'm like, no, they can't.
Yeah.
I'm actually they can't beat her. She beat herself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So even though she fell off the beam, she still got a 36.425 all around.
Wow.
Which means if she hadn't have fell off the beam, she would have had damn near 40.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the closest kid, the kid who won first, was like 37.125. Like,
wow, couple points. Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
she needed that though.
She did. So the next morning, she like all night she's like she couldn't sleep, and she got up the next morning for breakfast, and I'm like, you see that feeling you feel right now? That's called failure. I'm like, and you know who made you fail? You. And I'm like, you know why you failed? Because you have zero accountability for yourself. Yeah. I'm like, you took. So she was like, Dad, she was like, she had 1-2 first places, and then she goes, Dad, if I win first place, can I get some Jordans? I'm like, yeah, I'll buy you some Jordans. You win state, right? Yeah. So when she fell off, she was like, well, I was thinking about Jordans. I'm like, there's no accountability. Don't
even ask.
Don't say that, because it makes no. Who cares about Jordans at that moment? Now you're just deflecting on, and I'm a hard dad. Like I don't sugarcoat anything on my child, man. Like I give it to her straight, because that's how the world is. Like nobody's gonna save you. You better save yourself. Right? And so I told her, I'm like, you fail because you fail. Mm-hmm. You fail because you didn't prep enough. I'm like, do you feel like you did everything in practice? Let me ask you a question, kid. She's like, go ahead, Dad. I'm like, did I do everything I needed to do as your dad to get you where you needed to be? She's like, yes. I'm like, did you do everything you needed to do to finish? She said, no. Correct. Yeah. That's accountability.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the bottom line. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I did my job. Yeah. I'm here. I paid $1 gazillion. Yeah. I drove and flew all the fucking country. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. We didn't miss anything. We weren't late to anything. Did I tell you the Arizona story? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, bro. So remember we had a snowstorm here a month and a half ago? Yeah. So listen to this shit. This is fucking good. This is fucking stupid. So we had a flight from SeaTac to Arizona, right? They canceled our flight like the day before the meet. Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, I'm not gonna compete. I'm like, well, fuck this, we're competing because I already paid all this money. Yeah. Like we're getting to the meet. Yeah. So I get back online. I canceled that. Well, they canceled it. So I got my money back from their flight, and then I booked another flight. But this flight had a connection. It was the only one that wasn't like outrageously priced, right, for a day in advance or a day later. Because it was like we were flying out on like a Friday or Saturday, and it was like Friday night they canceled. I'm like, well, we're getting there. So anyway, we get there. The connection was from SFO, San Francisco, to Arizona, right? Well, we get to the airport. Our flight was delayed, and so the flight guy, the attendant, the pilot was like, well, or the flight attendant was like, well, we'll probably make it if you guys board now. So we got on the plane. Well, they had to fucking de-ice the plane for like 30 minutes. So we're stuck on the plane. You can't like get off at that point, right? You're on the runway. So we're never gonna make the flight. So we get off. We were 15 minutes late for the connection, so we missed it. There was no connection flights out of San Francisco until the next morning. Oh, wow. Her meet was at 8 in the morning, her meet was at 11 o'clock, and we were in San Francisco the night before with no connection flights out. The next available flight was getting to San Francisco at 1, so that means she would have missed the meet. So we get off the plane, and I'm like thinking, man, what should we do? I don't know what to do. So anyway, man, we go to the rental car place. I'm like, fuck it, we're gonna drive. It's like a 10-hour drive. If we leave now, we can make it, right? This is ridiculous. So anyway, if you ever flew into San Francisco or Cali, like, people are rude as shit. Sorry, all of my Cali people, I'm sorry, but they're rude as shit, man. And so we get to California, man, and I'm like asking all the rental car places. They're like, we don't have any cars. We don't have any cars. We don't have any cars. I'm like, son of a bitch. So I'm looking at my car. I got the GPS, like, for driving directions to the meet, and the longer I'm taking, it's clicking like you're not gonna make the meet the next day, right? Yeah. So like, not bullshit, man. I won't make this up. We have like 8 minutes left to get a rental car in order to make it on time the next day.
Oh my god!
To get to her meet, right? And I'm like, yo, if we get this car, you're gonna have to sleep in the car. We're gonna have to eat on the road, and you're gonna have to get dressed in the car. And you have to go compete, right? She's like, all right, Dad. I'm like, we gotta do what we gotta do. So anyway, I'm fucking defeated. This random guy came up, older white guy. He's like, man, what's going on? I'm like, we can't get a rental car. He's like, oh, yeah, I just did the same thing. He's like, go on Expedia. He's like, they're just bullshitting and being rude. He's like, if you go on Expedia and order right now, they have cars. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, go ahead, do it. So I get on my phone. I order through Expedia. The car comes up. It's a gazillion dollars, obviously.
Of course.
And I'm like, fuck it. I order. It's like a little SUV. I go to the counter for the lady that just told me she didn't have a car. I'm like, I got a reservation. She's like, we don't have any cars. I'm like, can you click my reservation? She clicks. She's like, oh, yeah, it's here. I'm like, oh my god.
So, try not to lose your shit.
Wow. So then she's taking all day. I'm like, charge me whatever you want. Just give me the car. Here's the car. Just. Can we go? Right. Finally get the paperwork. Fucking run to the rental car, man. Get in. I drive straight through from San Francisco to Arizona, and she gets there with 2 minutes left in warm-ups. She warms up for 2 minutes, goes right into performance, and still took 4th place.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh,
that's amazing.
First of all, you're an awesome dad.
Yeah.
I don't know how many dads would have done that. Yeah. They probably would have called it a day after the first hiccup.
Here's my thinking behind that. What's worse, man? It's the same thing as training, right? Or like cutting. Like I see a lot of people. I always say this thing, like, everybody wants to be a bodybuilder until it's time to fucking cut. Right? Till it's time to actually have some fucking discipline. Yeah. And get some cuts.
And some suffering and
right? Like lifting the weights and eating is fun.
Yeah. That's the fun part.
That's what we do. Yeah. But like, to get lean,
structure, discipline, deficit.
I know I'm training with a dude right now. It's competing next weekend, and he's like, I just want it to be done.
He just wants it to be done.
Oh yeah,
I'm done.
Oh yeah,
even lifestyle cutting, right? Like, I'll talk to you about doing shows this year, but like, even lifestyle cutting, even just getting summer ready, man.
Yeah.
Man, it's.
And then competition's a whole nother level.
Right.
Yeah. Like, there's a difference between having a summer beach body and then
competition body.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
It's a whole nother animal.
You know what I'm saying? But even going from a bulk to a beach body.
Yeah.
If you fuck that up, you will not be ready for the summer.
Right.
You won't be. Like, it'll be June and you'll be fat.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Like, you mentioned competition in the past, but is that something you're considering, or is that?
I am. I'm actually going to talk to you about it soon, because
you need to show the world them titties.
Can you animate those?
Yeah. Because I've been trying to stay fairly like in striking range. I bulked up, and then I was like, but I knew my daughter's competition season was here, and obviously you can't fucking be out of town and prep for shows. Right. It's just not. It doesn't go hand in hand, right? Yeah. And so now that her stuff is over, I want to try to find something, because I wanted to do like Emerald, but Emerald's like this weekend or next weekend.
2 weeks.
3.
Yeah, because it's
and I was like,
2 weeks after.
I looked at the time frame, and because because COVID pushed her season back, I was not going to make it. But yeah, I definitely want to try one. I just want to do it once just to see, like, not to obviously to compete, but it's a bucket list thing, right? Like
that's how it started for me. I just threw my hat in the ring, and I took the prep very serious, and I asked Becca Swanson and Rick Hussey of Big Iron Gym Omaha back in I think it was 2000 or 2001 to help me with my nutrition and posing, and that was a big difference from, like you said, from going just like wanting to look good for the summer versus
absolutely.
That was my first taste of that, and I remember. I looked at Becca and I looked at Rick and I says, hey, I want to stop with the powerlifting and I want to pick up bodybuilding. And the first thing they said to me was like, you're going to have to diet.
You're going to have to diet.
And I was like, and you know what, to me, an ignorant, like I've never dieted. So I was just like,
okay.
I go, okay, whatever. Like literally just blew it off like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And then when she threw me my diet, she also gave me instructions to stay covered up for the first 8 weeks. So I wasn't allowed to look at myself in the shower. When I get out of the shower, I wasn't allowed to look at myself in the gym. I had to stay covered up for 8 weeks. Very good purpose for that. Let me touch on that. Thanks for asking that, because a lot of my clients, I tell that too, and they don't get it until like I've actually made them do it. And the reason why is faith. They got to walk by faith. You got to walk, because otherwise every one of these clients will hit you up and be like, yo, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because they're constantly looking in the mirror and checking themselves every day.
So you'll see a noticeable change in 8 weeks. And so if you don't look at yourself, then you got buy-in. You got buy-in at that point.
So at 8 weeks in, I had it marked on my calendar. I called back on Sunday, which was 8 weeks. It was a marker. And I go, hey, it's been 8 weeks. May I pull the posters off my mirrors in my house and stuff?
Oh, you legit covered everything.
I covered everything with posters. I put Arnold posters and motivational posters over every mirror. And I stayed covered up, and I didn't look down at my abs. I didn't look down at anything for 8 weeks. I was very, very, So anyways, 8 weeks, I called her and I said, hey, may I take the posters off my mirror? She says, has it been 8 weeks already? And I says, yeah. And she goes, yeah, go ahead. And on everything, I'd never seen my abs. My brother was the ripped one. I had to work for it. So after 8 weeks, I pulled off my shirt, pulled the poster off my mirror in the bathroom, and I looked and I saw abs from top to bottom for the first time in my entire life. And that gave me the motivation and the trust and the faith to follow the rest of the diet for the rest of the 8 weeks. So that I was going to need that confidence, because going into it, you suffer more than you could ever anticipate.
And so that's a good segue back to that story I was talking about. So what would you rather do? It's not that I'm an awesome dad, man. It's just like,
oh, you are.
You are.
Well, thank you. But I also think of things like, I hate woulda, coulda, shoulda shit.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Like I hate that.
That
shit.
hurts worse than anything.
It does. So what's worse? Sitting in San Francisco, doing absolutely shit in a pandemic.
In California, you ain't doing
at night,
nothing.
Just to sit there, get some food, soak in your hotel, if you even get one, right, and then your kid's pissed because she's missing a competition, just to fly into Arizona to catch your connecting flight,
to go home.
Just to fly home. That sounds like a terrible idea. That's worse than us getting there and having this fucking movie style adventure. And getting a finish, even if the finish wasn't first place, she still took top 5. And so that's more memorable. In our storybook. So when I'm gone, so I think I lost my mom, I lost my granddad, and I lost my mom, my granddad, and in order. I lost my granddad, my mother, then my grandma. My grandma was my best friend. And so all of their stories that I tell my daughter are epic. Right? Because she won't ever remember them. And I'm a firm believer in so like my lady's Hispanic, right? And I'm a firm believer in, like, and she is too, where like the stories keep you alive.
100%.
Right?
Oh, that's really big in that culture.
Yeah, and it keeps you alive, and like, when nobody's talking about you no more,
you're gone forever.
And so my story to my daughter, that's a legendary story that she can tell her kids. And their kids can tell their kids.
This is purpose. This is how you grind. This is how you make things happen.
Well, the impact that you're going to have on her,
and just to not quit, right?
Well, and she ever has kids,
absolutely.
Just that's awesome.
And I always just want to be like, my dad wasn't in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I know him now. He's in Chicago, but like I strive to be the father that I never had.
Sure.
A lot of people like to play the victim. in single family homes and shit. Like, it is what it is, right? Like I had plenty of male influences in my life to show me what a man was. My grandfather, you know what I'm saying, my uncles and shit like that. But yeah, man, like I just want to be the dad that I didn't have, right? So I can say, like, I can look in the camera and say that my daughter's 12. I've never missed an event. I'm talking about from birth to like dads and donuts, all the way to meet. I've never missed one event.
Yep.
Not a school play, not a recital, not a meet, nothing. Nothing that I had to attend. I've never missed one. Like,
just that alone is just...
ever.
No,
ever.
We talked about that recently, and how you have all these deadbeats out here. The minute my kids were born, I've never looked at them and gone, I don't want to be around.
No.
Like I'm working close to home right now, and this is minuscule in comparison, but like I gotta be home in time to get my kid off the bus. He just started school,
and it's cool.
And like to me, that's super exciting.
Yes.
And it, like I said, it's minute in comparison, but I want to, like, I'll be there for everything, anything and everything.
But all that stuff matters.
But people take that shit for granted.
They do. You know, I have buddies who party every weekend.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, yo, like, where are your children though?
Yeah.
Like, while you're out having a good fucking time. Like, so man, like, I think, man, one of my mentors, he told me that you have, what did he say? You have 16 summers with your kids. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? He was like, you only have 16 summers before, he was like, probably 15 with your kids, and then you're done. As I gotten older, I know what he means.
Yeah, absolutely.
My daughter's 12, right? Yeah. She's currently at her friend's house right now, not with me.
Yeah.
The older she gets, the more she's gonna be there, but not here.
Yeah.
Right? So realistically, I probably have 3 more summers left.
Yeah. And that's why we've talked about this in the past. Like, that's why I train when I train.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to train that early. Nobody wants to train
Nobody
that early.
Wants to train that early. But
that's so I can be with my family and not take every single second that I have.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, because like I mean, Ari's 12 now. I mean, like last night, she cleans up her room. She does her chores. She's like, Dad, can I go to Amy's house? I'm like, all your stuff done? She's like, yep. I'm like, drop you off at her friend's house. I probably won't see her again till 7, 8 o'clock tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
So it begins is what.
Oh, it's already starting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so as a dad, you know, next year she'll be 13.
Yeah. And
we all, the preteen shit, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, you're dealing with all this other stuff. By the time you blink, man, you got an adult.
Yep.
And then and so now like all the partying you did, now you can do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because your kid is gone.
Yeah.
But people do it too early.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed, in my opinion, if you have children, I'm not saying not enjoy yourself, because by all means I do enjoy myself. But like, you have time to do that afterwards.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's probably better because you're probably more financially stable.
Yep.
Your kid's in a good place.
Yeah.
Right? You probably will enjoy the
because you don't have as many worries.
You don't have any worries at that time.
Setting up a good solid foundation for success.
Right. But if you do it too early, you may not set up that foundation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's just my train of thought, man. So
well, I appreciate you sharing that with us, and your train of thought is what I'm going to take out of this today is out of all the things that we talked about today is finish, and I want to reflect on that. In fact, I think we're going to talk about that in the. I think I'm going to use that as the thumbnail. Okay. Rod Love's going to talk about how to finish today and what that means and what that meant to him and his daughter, and in these times of like, what do we do, right?
Yep.
You pulled up, you were a leader. Led your daughter, got her there. You haven't missed a thing. But that's finishing. Yeah. That's cool.
And that's
man.
something that
like
I always think about. Like I tell my younger guys that I know with children and stuff. I say, man, like, if you died today, if your kid looked at your Instagram or Facebook, what is she gonna see?
Yeah, sure.
Or what is he gonna see?
Sure.
Is he gonna? If you look at my Instagram right now, you're gonna see snakes, motorcycles, but mostly my kid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna see mostly gymnastics. You're gonna see some gyms, some titties, like Chris likes to say. Mm-hmm. But you're gonna see my relationship with my daughter from a little kid until now. You can watch my kid grow up on Instagram. You can watch her gymnastics journey from not being able to flip 3 years ago to being a state qualifier every year.
She's only been in it 3 years.
Yes, that's it.
Prodigy.
She's only been in it 3 years. She started late. And so, but you can watch that transformation on Instagram or Facebook, right? Because like that's what's important to me. Like I always tell my kid, like I'm finished. Like I've accomplished everything I want to accomplish. I mean, anything after this is extra credit for me.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like all the things that I wanted to accomplish. I'm a computer animator. I breed snakes. You know, I own my home. I have my family.
The example right here.
Like
I'm not kidding.
I'm financially stable. Anything after this is extra credit. Right.
And you got hobbies.
Right.
Yeah. You like to ride bikes, stunt bikes too, which we're gonna show. I'm gonna show a little clip of that because that's one of his passions as well. You know, how long ago did that start?
Oh man, I've been riding for I started riding in 2008.
2008.
I want to say a lot. I started riding.
Did
late
you?
Too.
That's really late.
Yeah, I started riding late.
Did you automatically go right into like the trick riding? Or
nah, man. Well, you know, I had black moms. You're not getting that. You ain't kill yourself, and they're not wrong.
But that's moms in general.
That's moms in general.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true, because white moms let their boys fucking jump over.
No, you're not.
That's why.
He's not wrong. No, he's not. He's not wrong.
Well, that's why motocross is predominantly
all my black friends. I can hear not all, but most, the majority of my black friends growing up here in Tacoma. You could hear mom sounding, don't you get on there? You're gonna kill yourself. That's the first thing you'd hear. You're gonna kill yourself.
Whereas like all of my white buddies who are like phenomenal at every fucking motorsport.
Yeah.
Their mom, they've been jumping off the fucking. Yeah. They've been jumping through the air since they were like 4. Mm-hmm. Right? So of course they're badasses. Mm-hmm. Right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm. My mom would. But like, you want to do what? No. give me your keys. Give me your wallet. Give me your, you're not doing shit, right? So, I didn't start riding until late. I originally wanted to do. I originally was I started off as a fast guy. Like I wanted to get a 1,000. I wanted to race on the track, and I wanted to fucking speed down the street, right? Yeah. But that's like I feel like riders have a progression of like fast, and then one day you just dream of wheelies. If you don't dream of wheelies and you ride motorcycles, I think every dude dreams of wheelies anyway. Yeah, I don't know if I'm wrong, but you're right, I think wheelies is just like a thing that.
It's the first thing I wanted to do when I got my new bike, my bicycle. Was to try to ride a wheelie.
Like even pedal bike, right? You just want a wheelie. Yeah. So I think that's a thing you want to do. And then back in the day, man, I met these dudes. I was driving down. It's a real popular street in Chicago called Lakeshore Drive. It's beautiful. If you ever go there, like. You gotta do a Lakeshore Drive run. It's Lake Michigan, and it contours the city.
Oh, cool!
Fucking beautiful. Wow. Can't beat it. It's down middle. It like splits downtown. So you got Lake Michigan on one side, City of Chicago on the other.
Yeah. Okay.
And so you drive this way, lakes on this side, cities on this side. Wow. You come back down, and it's like, it'll take you 40 minutes, 30 minutes to get down. 40 minutes is a good drive. Yeah. And then you can turn around, and I think it ends on like Sheridan, and you come back. And now the city's on this side and the lake's on that side. Oh, wow. And you just drive it. And it's the best thing to do at like 2 a.m. when there's no traffic and you just got the breeze. You know, like something I encourage people to do, like rent a convertible, nice outside, do a Lakeshore Drive at like 2 a.m. and like just fucking enjoy the city. You can't beat it. Like it's the best shit ever, right? That's and so we're driving down Lakeshore Drive one day and I see these group, they're known as monkey tactics. I didn't know that at the time. It's two brothers and like a cousin at the time, and they're just fucking doing all this, like, you remember the movie Lost Boys?
Oh yeah.
I felt like they were like vampires on motorcycles. They just came. I'm just riding my bike normal, and I just see dudes just like standing up, jumping around, jumping over the handlebars, pulling the clutch, doing coasters. I'm like, what the fuck are you? Who are like? I was super impressed. And I stopped him at the light. I'm like, yo, like, what's up? Like, how'd you guys learn to do that? I'm like, oh man, we just like to ride and have fun. Anyway, I linked up with them. They showed me where they rode at. Back in the day, it was a legendary spot called Columbus. I went with them, man. I went and watched them ride. Fucking ran out, bought a stunt bike. Fucking wrecked forever. I was a slow learner too, man. Like, I just rode and wrecked and broke shit until one day it just like clicked, and then that's that's how it began, right? Like I just basically seen some dudes who were awesome, and like back in the day, man, like you just kind of learn. I mean, people gave you advice, but you just kind of trial and error, man. Like nowadays, like all the tips are out.
Yeah, you go to YouTube for it now.
Well, not even YouTube, man. You got guys like me who all just be like, hey, man, like come to the lot, I'll show you everything. But like back in the day, it was kind of just like
a secret.
Not even a secret, just like they were already so good, man, that like, they were so far gone.
The demographic was pretty small then too,
and the
right?
demographic was small, right? Now there's a shitload of stunt riders. I mean, Washington has a shitload of people who do wheelies. Everybody, every state does, right?
Jake Burton sent me a video one day as a goof, and he's like riding on a crotch rocket, and somebody's recording him out the window, and he pulls up right next to the car and pacing the car, literally puts his feet up on the handlebars and lays back, like a recliner. And then he sat up, jumped up on and cracked a wheelie, like standing and and out of the frame. And I go, that was cool. I'm glad you're still alive. Don't send me anything like that ever again. I can watch his whole career just go, boom.
You know what's funny, man, is like wheelies are probably some of the safest things you can do on a bike, because the higher you get, the higher you get, the lower you are to the ground. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So like if you fall off, you're just on the ground.
Well, you're coming off the back.
It's not in your mind. It's like, oh my God, I'm going high, but actually,
you're closer to the ground when that butt is
and if you're standing up, depending on how fast you're going, right? Like if you're hauling fucking ass, then that's a whole, you got knees snapping and all that to deal with. But if you're going at a decent pace, man, like if you're standing up on the bike and you crash, you just kind of and roll. If you have your protective gear on, I mean, trust me, I've done it.
Do you follow the Dynamite crew?
No.
They're dudes that do it on Harleys, stunt riding on Harleys, on Dynas.
I'm gonna show you my buddy here. His name's Samoan Bruce.
Yeah.
That boy is the Harley master on. He's the everything master on bikes, but he lives right here, and he's a monster. He rides a Dyna.
Yeah.
He rides that thing like it's a fucking 250 dirt bike. Yeah, it's amazing.
Rips it all over, huh?
Yeah, he's a ripper, man. Yeah. Like Bruce is incredible, man. But I do that, man. Breed snakes in my spare time. That's like my number one passion. Breeding snakes, man.
They're beautiful too.
Thank you. Got an Instagram for that.
I'll follow that.
My buddy PJ Braun, he loves snakes.
Does he?
He has a whole terrarium. What do you call it? A
terrarium.
Terrarium. Yeah, for his dragons and his.
Okay. Oh, he has a lot of them. Huh?
Oh yeah, and he's got some of the rarest snakes. Like.
Nice.
Oh yeah. You would love to see that. No, he lives in Boca.
Okay.
Florida.
Yeah. So I do that in my spare time, man. That's like that's what I want to do when I retire, man. I just want to like ride motorcycles and breed snakes. And, you know what I'm saying? Figure some shit out. But yeah, man. Like I was saying, basically, like everything here on from out at for me is like extra credit. So like that's why I tell my kid, I'm like back to segue back to what we're talking about. I'm like, man, this is your time. Yeah. Right. Like I'm gonna give you all the keys to success that I know. Yeah. I'm not saying that they're the only keys. Sure. I'm just going to give you the ones that I know that work. And you can do with that what you will. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But I told her, I'm like, the easiest way to success is just use those keys and open those doors. Yeah. No shortcuts. Don't shortcut. Because if you do, because the path is already set. Right? I've already done that. I've already laid the bricks. Just walk on the bricks. Don't go in the dirt. Yeah. Because you're gonna get dirty. Yeah. Just stay clean and go on the bricks. And finish. Man. But that's the biggest challenge in raising kids. They always want to go in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? They always want to.
You had people telling you the same shit, and you still.
I did. But you know what's funny?
Wavered over to the dirt too.
I stayed in the dirt. Yeah. But you know it's weird, man. I had a different path, man. Like my life was significantly harder than my daughter's. Me growing up, you know what I mean. And so, I was in the dirt a lot of times because I didn't have a fucking choice. Yeah. No, for sure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like my daughter has a choice. Yeah. She doesn't never have to be in the dirt. Yeah. Like where she's growing up. Yeah.
It's choices at this
point. Where I grew up.
Yeah. Night and day.
You've been to my house. Yeah. It's not the same. There's no fucking danger over there. No. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying there's no danger, but
it's white glove touch clean, by the way. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's white glove touch.
It's dangerous. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some dickheads out there that will try to abduct your kid or something like. But I'm just talking about just like everyday street shit and just hard to deal with things. That's not the case for her.
Yeah.
And so all the problems that she makes are self-inflicted
for sure.
problems that don't have to happen.
That's for most people though.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, especially nowadays, right? If your parents are halfway decent nowadays, your life ain't hard.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you know what I'm saying? Like
Everything's so accessible these days.
and that's why I like, you know, and to be honest with you, man, you know, as a parent, I kind of, you know, I'm tough on her because I'm a firm believer that, like, now that she's 12, I honestly don't think that, like in your mind you're like, well, I need to do the best I can for my kids so that they have the easiest route possible.
No.
But I'm not really sure if that's what you should do.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Because that creates its own set of problems that you aren't ready to deal with, right? And so obviously you don't want to live in a fucking ghetto, right?
Yeah.
So and that's what I mean by, like, it's almost impossible to, like, not make those choices, because it's like where I grew up at, my daughter would not survive.
Yeah.
She's just not built to make it there, right? And so I moved to areas. The more I progressed in life, I tried to upgrade myself until I can go into better areas. Well, that brings other problems. Like the more financially stable children's parents are, the more access to bullshit the kids have.
Yep.
So you have that problem, right? So you
trade one for another.
You trade one for the other, right? And so and to be honest with you, I think, like, if growing up in the hood in the South Side of Chicago, and then growing up in fucking Lollipopville, Washington, if I had to say which one was worse, I would probably waver on Lollipop, Washington, because the access to bullshit is higher, right? Like, the kids have access to everything because their parents give it to them, right? Where we have to get our own access, which, if you weren't capable of getting the access, then you just didn't get it, or it took you a long time to get the access.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it takes you a while,
Right? But their shit is instant gratification.
Right.
Right?
There's a lot of lessons to be learned through the process of getting said goal or said want, right? Because rarely are they needs.
They're always wants.
Right.
Right?
So, teaching reward for hard work is great. Finishing, I like all this stuff. I appreciate you coming on, man. I do. I appreciate you coming
pleasure,
on.
Man. I'm sorry I'm always so fucking busy, man. Like, I'm always, it's 1,000 fucking things.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, just like Chris, I mean, you guys both have busy lives. You guys are dedicated to your families, which is really awesome.
That's because I'm here at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Fuck that.
How many times have I invited you? You don't want to show.
I'm never coming.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I love you, but I'm not getting up at 3.
He's the shadow. 3 in the morning.
I get up at 5 to eat, and this motherfucker's done. Like, there's no way.
Oh yeah, I've texted you when I'm sitting down to eat breakfast, and you're like, "Yeah, I already got set meal 2, and I got my workout in already."
There's no way. There's no way I'm getting up.
No.
My problem is I like to fucking stay up all night. Like, I don't like to go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? I'm like watching shows with my lady.
I'll fall asleep at 8:30 watching a movie nowadays.
8:30?
Yeah.
Man, I'm lucky if I get to bed.
I'm in bed at 7:30.
Yeah.
You know what time I went to bed last night? 12:45.
Really?
Yeah, me and my lady are watching stupid ass shows all night, and, like, they get good.
Yeah.
And then I try to go to sleep and I can't. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
staring at the ceiling.
But yeah, man.
Anything you want to say to the people, man? Anything you want to say to the members? Anything you want to say at all?
No, I mean, you guys are great, man. I like working out with each and every one of you.
Except 4 o'clock in the morning.
Except for fucking Chris at 3 o'clock in the morning. For the guys who help keep the gym clean and rack your fucking weights, good job.
For the ones that don't,
fucking rack your weights.
Yeah.
And but yeah, for the most part, man, like, thanks for keeping this place like a positive environment where people love to come and work out and get the shit done. For the guys who motivate people and help people with their PRs, you know who you are. Like, you guys are awesome, and you guys make the gym what it is.
Yeah, we want to preserve that.
Yeah.
You know, I want to preserve that. I love this environment. I want to keep it that way. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Rod's I just want to hop on this real quick.
Please.
Rod's a prime example of taking information and utilizing it.
Yeah.
Because I know that I've given Rod knowledge on certain lifts, and I see him transferring that to other people.
I
just had to say that.
My deadlifts in particular, right?
I love that.
He's the anti-asshole.
Yeah.
All the shit. I mean, I couldn't remember. What was I barely getting before when you met me? What, 375 or something on the deadlift? Mm-hmm. He's like, you got to do this, and I still don't do all the shit right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, Chris said, do this, do this. And then I was in here the other day, and Gabe was like, lower your ass. I'm like, I know, I just can't. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just shit that it takes practice and repetition and and when you're under fucking tension,
it's hard.
It's hard, right? You're like, oh, fucked up. You know what I mean?
That's why it's so nice to have somebody like Chris or myself or somebody that knows, that can kind of sit there and yell at you when you're in the midst of it, because that recall will happen. You'll hear one of our voices when you go to do the same thing and make that mistake. If you feel it somewhere, you're not supposed to.
Hop in on his DMs every once in a while when I see him.
Oh, this motherfucker stays in my DMs.
Is he in you?
Yeah, I'll come to the gym and I'm like, man, I'm just gonna lift today and go home. He's like, really, bro? Really? What you lift? I'm like, now I gotta go pick up some heavy shit that I don't want to pick up, just so Chris. He's like, who's gonna help me roll my Viking shit now?
Speaking of Viking shit, plug your beard stuff, man.
I don't even have it.
We don't have it up here.
Why don't you have your beard stuff?
It's downstairs.
It's downstairs on display.
What did we just talk about finishing? I know. So we had this whole episode about finishing.
I feel like taking the blame for that. I was supposed to set up the props.
Plug your snakes.
If you go on Instagram, it's Amore Arboreals on Instagram. It's got like a little heart-shaped snake logo. If you happen to give a fuck, follow it.
Cool. All right.
And the modernDayVikingsBeardCare.com.
That's what I was looking for. Thanks, Chris.
I'm gonna get me some of that today.
Yeah.
For my little ass.
It's down there.
You can grow a full beard if you wanted to. You
I don't
can
think so.
Yeah, you could.
I don't think so, man.
Do it.
I think I'm.
I know you always keep that shit.
He's the beard expert.
I think I'm beard decline, bro. I think I'm maxing out. Nah. You can't have it all. And you know what I'm about to say. You can't have this, and you can't. How many people do you know have it all?
It's very rare.
It's very rare.
Well, the Forrest Gump video today, he had it all.
He had it all.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, on the Insta story that I posted today, there's a guy that looked literally like Forrest Gump.
I thought he was playing Forrest Gump.
You know when Forrest was running and he had all the long hair and the big beard and everything, right? This guy looks like that.
He's got long hair.
It's on the Insta story.
And he was wearing the trucker hat. Now, he was wearing a trucker hat.
That too. Yeah.
No, he don't have it all.
So that could have been gone.
He don't have it all.
But you're telling me he grew the sides out to his shoulders?
Yeah, like that's what happens. The sunroof is always missing.
Oh shit! Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us, guys. Gabe Moen here, Chris, Rod Love. We love y'all. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Peace.
That's awesome.
That was good.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.